Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the world of racing. Welcome to Imola for round 6 of the ZRC GT3 Championship Season 2 and reliving this absolutely monumental circuit that, well, has a bit of a history. Whether it's positive or negative, it's got quite a bit to it. Imola will challenge each and every single one of our drivers here today to maximize their points to ensure that they get the best bang for their buck now that the championship is closing rather quickly. So, we have got turn 1, which is going to be a Variante Tamburello, so keep an eye out for Variante Tamburello, where we're going to have the inside car understeering, the outside car can pin it straight and land up into the kitty litter as they charge away to Variante Villeneuve and all the way to the likes of Tosa. We're about being on the outside, try and get the run on your fellow drivers and get yourself all the way to the top of the order. Move your way through to the middle of the circuit, and then Aqua Marinari, well, I can never say that one right, is a corner that will either be infamous for most drivers or will be famous for some amazing passing. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Short little straight before Variante Alta as you climb on the brakes, swing the car in, get the rear to rotate with you, a quick left, a quick right, and a quick left once again. Or quick right, quick left to bring yourself back in check as you scream down the hill to Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. So, be that in May, our drivers will have to figure out how this is going to work for them. But a big welcome to every single one to this absolutely awesome running. We have got pros and pro-ams that will be heading out onto the circuit. And let's go down to the track. As got Real Casper saying, "Let's go racing, snails!" I love to see the enthusiasm where it comes in. A big shout out from our drivers to go and put in the support. Lots and lots of things happening. So let's give you a quick rundown on what's what. We've got our pros with our white number boards. Now, our red number boards are our pro-ams. That is of our current running. So take a look into it, support your favorite driver that is working in those classes. Now, with a pro and a pro-am class, it does change up the game of who is where, who is what, and what's going to happen. You've got different styles of racing, you've got different skills, and we did have a few penalties getting dished out that may change it up a little bit. Example, we had one penalty handed out to Jakob Krobler. He had to serve a race ban, but he will be back in racing. So Yaku, who went in instead, waited it out, backed his teammate up in one of the clever ways possible of just being a spotter. Can't fault him on that one, to be honest. Really, really well done. Touche. But like a lot of our drivers, they will be looking at where they are standing, because at the top of the charts for our pro-ams as they're currently out on circuit, it is Gerry van Zyl that will be looking to try and get the run up on the competition. Tian Theron in second place, and Mordre Claessens is currently in third of class. Now, I'm just going through the running order at the moment to see who is around on track. As you see, Lawrence Bond, North Stouts and check. Jackie of the OG Nitro going and driving around. Good to have a chat to Jackie a little bit last week. Then we had David Rutherford. They had a good fight between them. Gerry van Zyl, current leader of the Pro-Ams, and will be charging his way through. A Peak Racing in the big Bentley. Ian Rootman is a bit behind, trying to chase him down. Tian Theron currently second place in the championship in the Merc. And then we have got the likes, trying to see, I don't see Mordre Claessen anywhere. That is a bit of a blow. So it does look like Mordre Claessen, unfortunately, not in tonight's race, despite being third in the championship. So that's going to affect his championship, but allowed David Robertson, who is currently running in 4th place, and Jackie Alberts to go and usurp, as they're both sitting on 141 and 136 up against Wardrobe Claessen's 143. So very, very interesting. Wonder what's the reasoning for him not to be here for the final stages of the championship. That being said, though, we're going to be looking at who gets to the top of the charts of our Pro-Ams as they come across the line. David Robertson first to put his time on the board, 143.040, with Lawrence Bondhorst in 2nd place. Onro Sandler going and making his outing, currently running in 3rd place. So our drivers need to dig deep on this one and figure out how is it all going to work. As they make their way around the track. Pierce currently in 5th, Jackie Alberts, Tiantran down into 7th place, Jaco Krobler of the Pandassi team. Remember, he sat out a race, he is out on the track, currently in 8th place. Francois Buerta in 9th position to give it everything he's got. As they make their way around the circuit. Matthew Carter, Francois Haynes, still trying to get what they can. Heinrich Loeb out on the track, and Ian Swanberg, unfortunately, getting it all out of shape. And this is one of the chicanes I'm very, very worried about, that our drivers are going to have to figure out what's going to be the top running for them, as they wish to keep it on track and not in the dirt. Good, well done, and a good welcome to everyone that's out in the world of racing. Right here at Imola, good to see you guys flying over for a bright and sunny day. Let's Go Racing Snails by Real Casper. Darren 1411 saying good luck all. Stefan Donson saying let's go Michael. And Darren saying don't laugh at my driving tonight. Had to unplug the G29 for maintenance using the old G25. You lucky son of a gun. A G25 was one I was going for, but the main one was a G27, purely on the fact that it had a gear shifter. I wanted that. I really, really wanted that. Never got to. We do have our pit wall up for live timing, so you guys can keep an eye on all the action as your drivers, your favorite teams and cars make their way around the track. And Bell Station Gaming, how do I take part in this racing league? Well, down in the description there's a Discord link. Feel free to click on that or head over to sim.gp and go in and join up. The rules all are in there as well. So keep an eye out for that. And a bit of support coming in from Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, going and saying PWSR, huge support for PWSR. Got to remember that Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, well, pretty much stuck the boot right through likes of Essie in the previous race at Bathurst. And don't worry, I won't be watching your specific Nissan GTR as you go around the track. Do not worry, Mr. Daniel de Villiers in the yellow Nissan GTR of PWSR Alpha, car number 6, currently lying in 20th position, yet to do a lap time. I will not go and talk about that specific Nissan GTR car number 6 at all. So absolutely Incredible stuff. Good to have everyone coming in. We've got Hilton Nixon also saying hello, everybody. He actually did some racing last night in the BMW Z4. And well done to Safari Nation there. So good to see it. Tenvo going and saying, YouTube, stop me! Well, yeah, unfortunately, you cannot point in all the nasty words, as it will be turned up. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see who's going to be able to get themselves around the circuit. Darren saying, leave my teammate alone. Okay, as I said, I will leave the number 6 Nissan GT3 of PWSR Alpha alone. Do not stress about Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. Insert ID number here as our drivers come across the line. Currently, Terry van Zale in first place, David Robertson in second, but third place is brand spanking new debut outing for this driver, Honoro Stadler, having a fantastic time out there and really laying in the lap times. Currently in third place and throwing the Aston Martin around, showing what he can do. So good to see beginners coming into the world, some new blood to go and challenge our drivers as they make their way through. Lawrence Bottenhurst taking a look and seeing his mirrors full of a red Aston Martin, going and giving it one more try. And for Fears saying, just one more look. Yes, we'll take a look when the car's out, just to ensure we've got the right car. Don't stress. Heinrich Loeb in 5th place, Luke Naines in 6th, 7th is Jackie Ellis along with 10th run. Matthew Carter putting in a lap time, Francois Buerta. Ian Ruttman still out on circuit, but as they get told, times have come to a stop. Hank Peterson in 12th, 13th place. Joko Krobler, the lone Pandacity driver, now looking to try and keep going. And I just want to say, very proud of him. Very proud of that. Spoke to him a while ago. Said the easiest thing that you can do is quit. The hardest thing is to see it to the end, drive to the end. And like most of the drivers, they are going to do it. And Joko was one that was ready to throw in the towel, but he's going to keep it out there. So hats off to you, Joko. Good to see it. Alright, so time for our pros to head out. And Bernard Barkhuizen currently puts in and giving everything he can. Johan Kleinans, Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. This is the car to keep an eye out for, the PWSR Nissan GT3. Kind of a bizarre looking livery on the car this time around. Kind of looks like it's been squished with another set of livery. That is a strange looking Nissan GT3, I will not lie. As we will not talk about this number 6 car. We will not. And his attempt on SES Ace's race life, and pretty much everything to it. Hottest boys out on the circuit, Michael Donaldson, Johan van der Merwe, Darren Miller of PWSR Bravo doing a great job to keep up the gas. Michael Schultz currently in 25th. Chris Stoles, Conrad Martin, SES Ace, who had his prostate checked by a certain Nissan by the end of Bathurst. Edwin Govender, Loic Randabel out onto the circuit. And then we've got Daniel Rowe, Hannes Kraling, Johan Frobler, that is Mr. Pago Frobler, putting in all the drive. Pieter Buerta out on track, 35th, Anton Lubbers, and Savasavov as he cuts most of the corner, gets back out on the way though. And Fafia's going and saying that it's a bit of urban camo to get himself sorted out, but also putting in the sport. Let's take a look at our pros though and see who's top of the charts. Daniel Rowe currently leading out the class with the likes of Johan Kleinans, who will be chasing him down. Kleinans in second in the championship on 146 points. On 141 points though, keep an eye out for, because this is going to be a bit of a battle. Johan Frobler, Bago able to get a couple of points now, will be able to jump into second and possibly dethrone. But a big surprise coming in. Not only do we have a Bentley at the top of the charts for our Pro-Am, currently lying in 4th place is Daniel de Villiers in the Nissan GTR. So don't count the Nissans out. I am very, very surprised by that. Never thought I would say Nissan would be at the top of the charts again, but on 135 points, he does have a chance to do it. And you got Johan van der Merwe on 122, Hannes Krailing on 118, Christophe on 111, Michael Schultz on 87, 9th place is Sava Savov on 83, SESAs on 75 points with Vietia Buerta currently 71 points behind. As our pros start putting in their lap times, Chris able to get into 6th place, couldn't beat out the Bentley's lap time though. Will be trying to claw his way back into the mix of things and not get caught out with any of the trouble going out. Bernard Barkhuizen though, for the OG KSR team, puts himself into 1st place, 141.072, as he looks to stand on top of the charts. Kleinans down into 4th place, really needs to catch up. The Delta Negative team was doing incredible time, and they got landing into a world of trouble. So let's see what they can do. Our drivers battling their way around. Hottest boys going and making his way in 6th place. 7th is Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers. So Harry van Zyl still hanging on to that 2nd place spot in the big Bentley, hoping it will be enough to keep it in the top 5. David Robertson though in 5th place into the drop zone and will be losing out as time starts to roll in. 4 minutes and 55 seconds left of qualifying right here for Imola, and all on the cards for our drivers as they look to try and step up the game tonight for round 6 of the ZRC GT3 Championship. Bernard Barkhuizen trying to put in the extra little bit of time. Will be going up on his lap time. 0.1. Will it be enough though? Comes rounding out the final corner and comes across the line. Not able to be his last lap time. Still sitting with that 141.072. Currently up on his lap time is Chris Souls, Delta Negative. Now battling it out. 0.065 and is 0.1 up on last lap time. Making his way around. Johan Kleinans 0.3 up on his last lap time. Michael Donaldson currently 0.3 up on his last lap time. And Johan van der Merwe 0.3 up on his last lap time. So a couple of drivers hoping to really put in the extra work. Adrian Govender that scored the best drift in the world. Well, he's still out there and 0.4 up on his last lap time, hoping to break into that top 10. It's going to be a lot of hard work for that little McLaren. Anton Lammers 0.1 up on his previous lap time. But Bernard Barkhuizen dialing it in the big time now. He's trying to break into that 140 mark, which is possible. It is going to be a proper shout if you can get it sorted out. Chris also looking to take it back. They've been fighting who's got the fastest lap between the two of them. Ultimately, this is not going to be an easy one as both drivers are looking to really dig deep into it as they come across the line. It does look like new fastest lap goes to Chris Stolz at 140.8. Daniel Rowe puts himself smack bang into 2nd place. And will the likes of Bernard Barkhuizen? Yes, he does. A 140.715 right here at Imola. And that will be his lap time done. Dustin Kleinans just couldn't improve his last lap time. Van der Merwe still out on circuit. Hardest boy is now going to be giving everything. He's got 0.1 up on his previous lap time. Will it be enough? Yes, moves him up into 7th position as he comes across the line. Loic Randebelt just giving a little pull to Bego Krobler. Savasavov rounding the final corner. Up big time. He is currently 0.6 on the last lap. Will it be enough when he comes across the line? 10th position. So scoring 10th position, and does land up with the likes of Barkhuizen having to dive a little bit on the dirt there as Savasavov comes across the line. Just trying to give him a little bit of room, and a whole lot as they get going. So a lot of drivers trying to dial in the last dying minutes of, well, dying seconds of this qualifying. 1 minute and 33 to go, and a lap can take you 1 minute 40.7 at absolute race pace. Low tank, the works. Race pace though, we're going to expect to see 141 mids along with 142s. Anything beyond that, unfortunately, is going to be a little bit too slow. Where it sits at the bottom for our Pro-Ams, actually sitting at the 143s. As Kerry Fronzel still within that top 10. No one able to kick him out just as yet. That Bentley is going to hang on till his very last breath as he looks to try and improve. Michael Schultz giving it everything he's got and fighting his way through. A couple of onboards being requested. Well, why don't we jump in with the 992 Porsche GT3R as Michael Schultz looking to come across the line. 0.4 up on his last lap time. Will he be able to carry it as he comes across the line? Moves up into 11th position. This is heading into turn 1 though. Hard on the brakes, down in the gears. Let the rear rotate into 3rd gear. A bit of a short shift to try and stabilize the car up into 4th. Through turn 2, turn 3, now into turn 4. A little bit of a lift down the gears. 3rd gear, down into 2nd. As you see Jan Grobler go flying off the circuit. Into the hairpin, down the gears. 2nd gear, carry the momentum through. Very tempting to go into 1st, but try not to as you get back on the power. 3rd gear, carry all the way up the hill. Bit of a blind crest into the braking zone. 3rd gear, got to just be easy on the throttle all the way through as you head down to Akil Morali. Right-hander, 5th gear, down into 3rd, down into 2nd. Oh, ran it too far wide and just had the tail snap out. Unfortunately, that will be pretty much him going back. Bernard Barkhuizen though, he's hoping to keep going as he makes his way through Akil Morali. Big McLaren trying to get a little bit more drive over the curb. A little too much there. That may be an off track coming into play. Got it a bit unsettled. Runs it up through the gears. 4th gear, 5th gear, heading towards 6th, but just can't get it. Down the gears into 2nd. Hook it in the 1st left. Into Ravazza 1, Ravazza 2. Back on the power. Up into 3rd. Want to try and keep as close as you can to the wall. Cuts away as much of the circuit as possible. Watch out for the right wall on the right hand side as he comes across the line to put in his last lap time. So, drivers putting in their lap times, getting themselves sorted out, will now have an opportunity to get ready for the race. And it is going to be an exciting one, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to rock and roll for the ZRC GT3 Championship Season 2, Round 6. And it's all or nothing for our drivers. Can they keep it up? Is it going to be enough to get themselves to the top of the charts? Well, let's go down to the grid and take a look whether they're going to be able to do that or not. As we take a look through who is where for the ZRC GT3 Championship. Bernard Barkhuizen in 1st place. Christels in 2nd. Johan Krobler in 3rd. Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers in 4th. Daniel Rowe in 5th. Johan Kleinans currently in 6th position. Then we've got Jan van der Merwe, Hardest Boys, Hannes Kreiling, Gerry van Zyl, Michael Schultz, Michael Donaldson, Vietia Buerta, Savasavov, along with SESA's David Robertson is looking to chase down and try and claim some points for the championship. Heinrich Loeb, Arno Stradler in his first time out for ZRC, 3rd of the Pro-Ams. Darren Miller in 19th position. Conrad Martin in 20th. 21st goes to Loic Randebel, Lawrence Bonhurst, Edwin Govender, Jackie Alberts, Lucan Haynes, along with Anton Lummers, Tian Theron, Matthew Carter, Francois Buerta, Ian Rootman, Henk Petersen, Jaco Krobler down 32nd position. Francois Haynes, Barry Loeb, Ryan Rudder, and Liam Swanburn in 36th position. 36 cars looking to take to the top of the charts, and we are going to be racing full throttle, ladies and gentlemen. You can hear those engines revved up, ready to go, and looking to be putting on a stunning performance for us tonight as our drivers make their way around the circuit. We'll be coming down into Ravazza 1, Ravazza 2, then around our final corner. They've got to slow it down to 70 kilometers an hour before they get back up and racing. Who's going to be able to stand on top of giants? Well, we're about to find out as we go back to a bit of racing. All eyes are on first place, Bernard Barkhuizen, with the likes of Chris Stalls in second. Coming up to the line, Daniel De Villiers trying to get some heat in the brakes, heat in the tires. Went a little bit too far back. It's going to have to pick up a little bit of the pace. Want to keep right on the edge. Looking for the middle of the track. Lights on. And wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Jim's on the lights. Tim on the cameras. Lights off and away we go. The Delta Negatives are really trying to put their head through, and it wasn't going to work. Jan Krobler going in, leaning on Daniel De Villiers as they pile into turn 1. Hard on the brakes, but it does look like Chris dropping down, getting a loss of position, and now has got Daniel Rowe onto the back of him. Daniel De Villiers immediately putting pressure, as it does look like a very clean start to kick it off. Kleinans fighting it out with the likes of Jan van der Merwe. Hannes Kraling also tailing behind, watching himself very carefully. Door-to-door racing as they go. But it does look like Bernard Barkhuizen has checked out of this fight, long time gone. Chris Souls now having to battle it out against two teammates of Daniel Rowe and Jan Krobler, who are not giving an inch to one another. With a bit of a push out though. Jan Krobler losing out position as the big Nissan muscles his way through, getting it past, has to slow down quite rapidly and loses out the drive out of Morani. Now has to get back onto the power. De Villiers looks to the inside, second guesses it. Kleinans also tried peering his head out to do the same. As Thriller Miller a little bit further back, hoping to get a little bit more drive as our drivers make their way through. It does look like we have a bit of a problem though. SES Ace going and landing up in a bit of a spin. So let's go back and see what happened to SES Ace. All looking okay. Heading into the chicane though, this is where it all got a little bit too tight and problematic. Avoiding an incident, bumps the curb, gets bumped from behind, twisted around, and the whole field coming by. So that's him pretty much turned around and missing any action. Jackie Alberts trying to get a little bit past as Stadler going side by side into turn 1. The OG team though will be keeping a close eye on one another. Stadler, who is just trying to keep it all together on the first outing, will be focusing on the charge as we see Matthew Carter has landed into the dirt and Ian Rootman as well going and landing into the dirt. So the two of them came to blows with one another. Let's see if we can go back to our number 36. This is Ian Rootman. Looks inside, looks outside, trying to have a go at Matthew Carter in the Mercedes. Side by side they go into turn 1. Oh, what a dive, what a send, and that is not how it all ends. So unfortunate contact between the two of them, pretty much going and changing their race. Going Kleinans, getting ahead of Jan van der Merwe, just able to take a little bit more curbs But Kerry Funzel currently leading out our Pro-Ams, has got quite a bit of spacing. 4 spots between himself and the likes of second placing Fast Evan Robson, who has got 100 Globe onto the back of him. So Kerry's going and keeping just a consistent pace, getting pressed on by Michael Donaldson, who is going to be telling him, come on buddy, you need to get going. We're losing the train up ahead. You're either costing me time here, or you've got to really get into it and get going once again. Now we did bring up about the pit stops, and let's talk about that. 2 mandatory pit stops is needed by the drivers. How do you get them? One of the pit stops done and dusted? Well, simple and easy. You got to get in the pits. You got a big square that you got to dive for, and then you go and get yourself 1 liter of fuel put in the tank. You don't have to change tires. You have to put 1 liter of fuel in the car and then exit pit lane safely. That being said, though, if you get it wrong by not lining in the box correctly, they have to jack it up, move your car, put it down, jack it up again, that does not count as your pit stop. So you've got to be so careful to be lined up in the box. Sounds a lot easier to get wrong or get right, but in the heat of the moment, in a massive battle, when you have got cars chasing you down left and right as you're looking to try and get an advantage over the rest of the field, well, it turns into a difficult one. Edwin Governor losing out position. Jackie Albert's getting by. Governor will be lining himself up to try and go for a pass once again, but has got Lucan Haynes trying to close down. He's got himself firmly between the 2 teammates and pushed Lucan right into the clutches of Stradler, who is now right onto the back of him, trying to give everything he can. Will be following in tow. Let's see a couple of pit stops done and dusted. First one being done by Darren Miller, then SES Days, and Lawrence Bodenhurst will be the first that have completed their pit stops. Michael, well, done their first pit stop. Michael Schultz opting to go for an early pit stop as well. So a couple of drivers trying something different than their usual running. Instead of going and pulling in the pits a lot later in the race, they're going to do an early stop, try and run the race a little bit further, and then we'll go back in and race it. Going for the move though, going and battling it out as we jump on board with the big Mercedes as he chases down the back end of that Ferrari 296, that turbocharged V6, going and giving it everything it's got, but just can't get the run on him. And with Kleinans, if you take a look off that rear wing, one going and supporting all the NASCARs and just NASCAR in total, because they're a lot more fun. Driving the wrong engine though, got a V6, not a V8. So might want to get that sort of sorted out. Accidents coming in for our number 7 car, and that Edwin Governor, who went side by side with the car number 29. That's the, was that Lucan Haynes? No, a little bit of contact with Lucan Haynes. As they get twisted around, unfortunately, not turning out in their favor. Oh, Johan Kleinans, as we come back to the party, having a contact with number 76 of Johan van der Merwe. Van der Merwe was on the back of him, and then you had Kleinans ahead. So just as we came back, we saw the carnage of the two, and twist turn, tries to bring it back. There's a nudge on the nose. Unfortunately, both cars getting caught out. Going to be a bit of a chat there between the drivers on, hey guys, let's try and keep it together and not go into the back of one another. Try something a little bit different there. Viateur Buerta will be pushing as hard as he can. Nushka Buerta will be cheering on along with the kids, saying, go Dad, go. You can't let Savo get ahead of you. That Lamborghini though, looking very pointy as it makes its way around the track, doing a phenomenal job of holding back. Another close battle, Rian Ruda. We don't get to chat about him too much, the R&R Racing. Now going after Ian Rootman, who had a bit of a difficult start to his race. But Rian Ruda is going to give it everything he's got. 29th position, got one of the Audis that you can spot from a mile away, and is still sticking it out. Very good to see. Back up to another close battle as Johan van der Merwe has joined up onto the back of Vietia Buerta. Gets it out of shape, trying to give him a little bit of a bump draft, pull him a bit closer to Savov at the moment. Not going to be easy. Under braking into Revitsa 1 and Revitsa 2. Once again, just ever so slightly nudging on Johan van der Merwe, trying to get Vietia to go a little bit quicker, but Vietia not backing out of the fight. Van der Merwe is going to have to go around side by side with his teammate, and this can end one or two ways as they head into the braking zone. Vietia going and touching the grass, so very unstable Merc as Johan van der Merwe just gets it all locked in and gets past. Vietia Buerta goes and gives up the gap and says, right, I don't want to play anymore, you go. Yellow flag for car number 13, and that is Tian Theron going in and coming out of the pits. It's a bit slow, and watching all the drivers, just ensuring that he doesn't interfere. As our drivers make their way around the circuit, everyone really pushing as hard as they can to try and make up some time. But out in front, it is Bernard Barkhuizen with Chris Hills, who is currently down the fastest lap time of the race, 1:41.2, as his quickest lap time last lap is in third place. Then you have got Daniel Rowe in third place. Moving on to our Pro-Am class, though, we've got Gerrie van Zyl, who is currently in 9th. He's first in his class. 14th, though, is David Robertson, second in class, with Heinrich Loeb trying to catch up to him, third in class. So it's good to see the class battles still alive and still fighting, but two people that are fighting out are two people that don't often get to fight it out. Arno Stralen and Luca Nunes going and battling it out. Arno backing off the throttle, allowing likes of Luca to get by, deciding he's not going to get into the argument just as yet, going to concentrate on tyres not being burned out too early on in the race. And also with the fuel as well, doesn't want to go and make any wrong mistakes. A couple of cars pulling into the pits again, getting themselves sorted out as Ian Swanburn goes on to the back of Franco Sainz, and Henk Pieterse also joining into the fray there as Swanburn looks around the outside, looks to try possibly go for the inside, second guesses it, will keep to the racing line, pull himself along, not getting too involved, but we so far have a good number of our drivers. We've got 4 of them currently that have done the first pit stop. As where are you going? The Venom Racing completely getting it out of shape, and unfortunately going and landing up in the weeds. So what happened to Swanburn? Let's go on to the helmet cam, see what happened to this Aston Martin, suddenly taking a short left right here at Imola. Close up on the braking. Oh, tank slapper, try to bring it back. A little bit of a knock against the wall, light damage on the nose. Will have to be that in mind when he rejoins the circuit. So a very, very short left. Unfortunately, when the tail starts to direct the head, that's a bit more of a problem. Almost became like one of the Jack Russells. When the tail moves so fast, it pulls the rest of the body around. As Johan van der Merwe onto the back of Savov. Is Sava going to back down from this fight, though? He's been showing good pace with that Lamborghini, but last lap time was a 42.4 versus Van der Merwe's 41.9. So he's going to try and hang it out as much as possible, but I do think the inevitable is coming, as he does know that he may get lapped at this point. They're in the same class, so it's all about points. And with Johan Kleinhardt just up the road onto the back of Gerrie van Zyl. Good sign to open up, though. Now drivers having to think what's going to work out for them. Anton Lammers onto the back of Francois Heinz, who moves out the way. Our racing snails going and minding out of the way, allowing Anton Lammers to get by. Knows he's not fighting him for class position. Now we'll start to focus on Henk Petersen behind him. Our trail bullets now having to keep an eye out. Jaco Krobler of the Pandacity team doing everything he can to keep it all in check. So Jaco hard on the brakes, slings it in, trying to catch up to Petersen, who has got the slipstream from Heinz ahead of him. This is 22nd and 23rd, really close to one another, and still in a monstrous fight at this point, where it can swing any which way as they fight their way around the track. Seeing yellow flags kick up for the number 1 car, that would be Darren Miller. So what happened to Darren Miller of PWSR? He was on the back of SESA's in the Mercedes just ahead of him. So Miller looking up on the inside, second guesses it, comes back, gets into the toe. Oh, just a snap on the Ferrari over the curb, and in the dirt she goes. So a bit of a problem there to bring it back. Also, more yellow flags coming into play for car number 76. This is Jan van der Merwe going on to the back of Sava Savov. Was trying to get past, looks around the outside. Sava running a little bit later into the braking zone and just forcing that number 76 to go out a little bit wide. So I think the yellow flags came in just running out a little wide. Daniel Rowe now caught up to the back of Crystals. This is a battle for overall position as well as class position. Second and third. Chris of Delta Negative has got a mirror full of Hybrid Racing 1. Daniel Rowe, who is constantly hunting him down, trying to figure out what's going to work. Looks to the inside, tries to go for a bit of a late dive. Can he get it all hooked in? Not just as yet. Dives once again, side by side they go as they make their way onto the main straight. It is going to be a bit of a drag race, but unfortunately the Ferrari just having the legs. Daniel going to get into the toe, pull himself along, maybe pull out of the toe when he gets a little bit closer to the corner. You can see Chris wants to defend that inside line, but will it be enough though? Goes for the cut back. Oh, just trying to get the drive, but that Ferrari just having the legs over him. Side by side they go again, hard under braking, and Chris not backing down from it. Rowe looks up the inside once again, but they are starting to catch up to a couple of blue flags ahead of them. This is not what Chris wants to see, as he can get quite easily boxed in at the moment. Jan Krobler has also closed up on the gap, so he's able to possibly go hunting for a second and third place as these two fight it out with one another. Hard under the brakes, try and pull it back. All that Daniel needs to do is try and find the drive. He just couldn't though. Chris getting pinched in will get a bit of a free pass as one of the Mercedes go and move out of the way. Second, third and fourth now on top of one another. Jan Krobler did look for the inside, second guessed it, rather to dial it back a bit as one of our back markers minding out of the way and managing to get themselves going. Savov getting a little bit of a yellow flag. Virtia Burta actually gaining a position as well. So what happened between the 76 of Jan van der Merwe? Getting the drive, gets out of shape, gets close to Savov once again. Gonna go hard on the brakes. Okay, all looking tucked up nicely. Oh, a little bit of contact. 2, 3. Turn around and loses out. Virtia going and taking the position just on that dive alone. Overzealous, unfortunately, coming into play. Daniel Rowe, though, doing everything he can. Chris trying to defend as hard as possible. Looks to the inside, looks to the outside. It's 57 minutes remain of this race. Rowe looks to the inside line, has to back out through the long left-hander. Double apex that you got to go for. Keeping it all together, hard braking while cornering, down the gears and back up as you get back onto the throttle as quick as possible. Number 46 though, that's Johan Kleinans out into the weeds. Bit of a bizarre one for him. That is Ferry van Sale, who is our leading Pro-Am car, just ahead of him. Hard under braking. Oh, just touched the dirt. One wheel on the dirt, and that's all she wrote. To just kick out that Ferrari into the distance and drop down the order as well. So not exactly ideal circumstances for him. A little bit further back though, as you see Daniel De Villiers and Hannes Kraling having a good go at one another. The two Nissan GTRs, the Godzillas, as they were fighting out. We're having the discussion for the Bathurst of what will win. Daniel De Villiers in more of the original Godzilla, or will we have Hannes Kraling in the more metallic, the Mecha Godzilla? Both Godzilla, but there's one original, or one of the 7 originals, and Mecha Godzilla that is out there having a bit of fun. Now we do know what Mecha Godzilla can do in terms of outright pace. We've seen Hannes Kraling take it to the front end of the field quite quickly, but it seems like this time Imola not playing into the favor between the two. Vietia Buerta now dealing with Jan van der Merwe all over the back of him, trying to figure out where they can get by. It's 2 more pit stops coming in. Lucan Haynes and Francois Heines going and pulling into the pits. So those two are getting themselves sorted out. Top of the running though, 11 laps in. Bernard Barkhuizen set the fastest lap time of the race, 1:41.007 in the McLaren. Looking to try and carry on with the dominating victory, but he's got Crystals, who is in his own little battle with Daniel Rowe and Johan Krupler. And then you have got Daniel De Villiers and Hannes Kraling all over one another, trying to figure out what is going to be the climb here, what needs to be done. How are they going to get the run on one another? But this track is not about who's quicker. Who can keep it all together is the better one. As Michael Schultz up on the inside of Ruan Redder, trying to force his way through that Audi R8. Just not having the legs over the Porsche 992 as they make their way up the hill. Hard on the brakes, Ruan Redder though. Not going and fighting with Michael Schultz, as he is a pro driver versus Ruan Redder, who is a Pro-Am driver as it stands. Rian's got to look forward and say, Ian Rutman is the chap I want to go for. And I want to lose out time to the likes of Lucan Haynes in 31st position, who is currently in the same class as myself. Hannes Kraling getting past Daniel the Hitman De Villiers. Gets an easy time by, not too much of a problem there, as they both carve their way through the very relaxed turbos of those Nissans as they battle their way around the circuit. We do have a interesting turn of events for our number 27 car that landed up in a bit of a yellow flag situation. This is Francois Heines trying to keep it all together, a little bit on the dirt, tries to go on the defense, hard on the brakes, and just getting a little bit of a nudge from behind from the ZRC Ferrari, giving a quick flash, saying, "How's buddy, sorry about that one, let's try again," without going and knocking each other around. Still's getting away from Daniel Rowe, but Johan Krubler now has caught on to the back of Daniel Rowe. Daniel's trying to maximize his points at the moment. He is leading the championship. Krubler is also within a shout at the moment. As we see, that is a PWSR car that's parked off into the distance. So what happened? That is PWSR. Bill Miller comes off, gets it sort of all wrong. Ruan Redder though also was off the track long already and had to take evasive maneuvers. So even when Redder thought he was safe, it was not, as he had to take a bit of a avoiding action. Let's see what happened to Redder. Into turn one. Did he get a snap oversteer over the curbs? looking fine. Too much over the curbs. And, yep, snap oversteer. Doof, into the wall. And having to turn around when suddenly PWSR right there in the dirt with him saying hi from the other side. Savov fighting it out with Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe was a little bit higher up in the order, but Savov is going to fight him out. Side by side they go as they make their way down towards the chicane. It's going to be hard braking for the two. Lamborghini is going to have more rotation. If he could stop it absolutely dead on the apexes, which he does, kills off the drive of Van der Merwe, who has got some low-end torque to him, but not as much as the Lamborghini. Savo going and parking in the middle of the track. Backs out, looks to go for a cutback. Van der Merwe runs out wide, and just managing to stop it on both apexes, and that's a pass. Jaco Krobler falling off the circuit, going and giving a bit of room as well to a couple of other drivers. Francois Heinz a little bit further down the order, currently in 29th position, trying to battle it out with Darren Thriller Miller behind him of PWSR. And PWSR recently bid adieu to Kieran Patterson, who's going and representing South Africa over in the world of cricket once again, back across the other side of the pond. So always good to see some support coming in, and also seeing our top players go and show off what they can do. Lawrence Bondos and Tian Theron, though, have done their final pit stops. Heinz moving over. Our racing snails actually coming to a stop on circuit. And just letting all the cars go through. Bit of a strange way there, as that does kind of kill off the race, as Francois Buerta will say, thank you very much, I won't fight you on that one, but yeah, a peculiar place. Maybe a problem happening to the car that caused a unnecessary stop. We've had that before with the pedals going and disconnecting, or lights. We had one, I think it was, sure, wasn't actually in this league, it was in another, where the guys actually managed, they had a Mazda steering wheel, got very, very excited in a battle, and grabbed the quick release collar that's on the back of the steering wheel. Now, the quick release is basically you can put your two fingers on the back of this collar, pull it back towards you, and it would snap the steering, it would get the steering off its spline, so it will get it off the shaft that it connects onto. So makes it easy to hot swap steering wheels. It also makes it easy to take the steering wheel off, like in the worlds of a Formula rig, where there isn't quite as much space to get in or underneath. You can pop the steering off, chuck it off to one side, get in, pop the steering back on, much like a real race car. But others tend to hot swap the steering wheels from a Formula rim to a GT styled rim, to even nowadays, believe it or not, a truck rim, which is I think something of like 40 or 50, 500 millimeters wide. But it does look like our stewards have joined us up for the race, because penalties are flying off the shelves. Jan van der Merwe getting 30 seconds added to his time. Down in 16th, Honor Stadler gets 30 seconds added to his time. Edrin Governor getting 5 seconds added to his time. So those penalties are being dished out hotter than ever. 45 seconds for Ian Rootman, 20 seconds for Matthew Carter. My heavens. This is now just off the shelves, properly flying out. This is, if you've ever seen the meme where the guy's got money and he's just going and swiping it off his hand as dishes it out, well, that's pretty much what we've seen with time penalties. Now, how do you get rid of a time penalty? Lots of people have been asking that very, very same question. Well, two ways to it. One, serve it in your pit stop. Get into the box, you're going to hold for the certain amount of time, the allocated time, such as 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds or so. and then carry on the rest of your pit stop. Otherwise, you carry it to the end of the race where it will be added to your total race time. Ideally, the main thing is you want to serve it during your pit stop time, get it completely out of the way so you know towards the end of the race you are racing for position. You're not trying to think, okay, well, I still got to put 5 seconds between myself and the car behind me, or I've got to get 5 seconds closer. You want to have as much of a clear race as possible. You don't want to have clear as mud in that place. Heinrich Loeb getting into a bit of a contact with Francois Heinz. That's not going to work out in their favor, so let's go and see what happened to the two as we jump to Tim in the helicam. Francois currently in the BMW and Heinrich in the McLaren, trying to have a good go at him. Looks on the inside, too far back, has the BMW go out wide. Oh, just look for the drive. Both of them going into the wall and both landing up in a world of hurt. Stradler comes by and they go secondary contact once again. So not ideal circumstances there for it. Yellow flag for Thriller Miller as he gets a little bit unsteady as we see Savov going and catching up to him, looking left and right. Sava dives up on the inside. Thriller Miller stuck on the marbles, tries to move back over. It's a bit slow, runs out wide, and I don't think that was for anything bad, but more of just trying to give the guys a bit of a gap. 45 minutes to go this race. Lawrence Barnhorst and Theon Theron currently having the race working out with them. Now that they've done both their pit stops, they got it out the way. They are now concentrating on the long run here. As you see, Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers, now coming out of the pits. He's pitted quite early. He gets right in front of Hannes Freiling again, who just comes out of the pits. Jakob Krobler, though, will play a bit of piggy in the middle with the Ferrari 296 of the Infiltrate Panda Pounce. Trying to get a little bit more drive as you see Hannes Freiling going and dropping a wheel off onto the dirt. Not having an easy run there as he fights his way through. Couple of guys out in the grandstand, so we do have Tommy Alberts going and saying ahoy! Good to have you there. Gerrit Swanepoel going go Vietia. Blade Skuman saying go Luke and keep up the hard work, keep pushing. Tenvo going saying amazing battles earlier on for likes of Stolz and Rowe. That is completely true. Then we have the likes of Paul Fenter, Paul the Wolf Fenter, going and saying how's it, for anyone that knows how to eliminate your teammate in the most fashionable way possible, or create a new wall using Alexis. Paul the Wolf Fenter, definitely the guy. I'm just joking. Paul the Wolf Fenter, one of our admins for another league that works with the likes of ZRC, LNR, Logistical Nightmare Racing. That is keeping an eye on their drivers, on their competition, and also just going, hey, look at it's nice to see all the racing out here. Good to have you here, Paul. Zoot saying the Zodiac livery chrome glare is very distracting in a race. I think that was kind of the design philosophy of it, is to have that little bit of chrome, that little bit of shine coming off and affecting the drivers. I do know for a fact in the world of real racing, IRL, there's actually a rule in IndyCar, NASCAR, no, not NASCAR, IndyCar, and it was prototype racing. I'm not sure if it still exists for prototype racing though, for the LMDHs, as we see Edwin Govender, well, we don't see Edwin Govender, but he's put himself into a wall through the hairpin at 007, now trying to get going once again. But yes, there's actually a rule that was put in place where the manufacturers aren't allowed to have a super chrome livery, as it is highly distracting, and with photo flashes at night, the reflection back to the drivers used to go and hurt a lot. Oh, as we see Liam Swanburn going and hurting a lot there with a bump into the back of likes of Edrin Governor and Peterson coming out of the pits. But yeah, the main problem was, like at Lamar or Sebring, where they took a photo, the flash back would actually blind drivers, spectators, and crew, especially in the pits, when all the drivers and spectators could take pictures quite quickly. The flashes off the side of the cars were actually highly distracting. Daytona 24 was one where there was tons and tons of photos taken. It bounces off the sides of the car, and during the 24 it used to get in the way of the drivers. So, more you know, there actually was a rule banning super glossy liveries, super chrome liveries. As you see, like Roundabout flaunting it out, Barry Loeb just ahead of him. Barry trying to keep it all together. It's a little bit of a drive, but Loeb immediately pressing onto the back of him, and Conrad Martin, who did give up the gap to allow what looks to be Daniel Rowe in for a fight. That is, no, it's not Daniel Rowe, that is Johan Krobler. Daniel Rowe's long since checked up the road. Johan Krobler, though, trying to carve his way through the black markers, will be sitting with a bit of a frustrating circumstance, looking inside, looking outside, trying to figure out how can he just get past at the moment. He is the faster car, but it is the rule of the faster car needs to safely pass the slower of the cars and not land off into the dirt. As we see a little bit of contact with Loeb coming into play, that compromised Loeb and the likes of Johan Krobler. Loeb loses out to Loeb Randabel, and now it's a drag race all the way through, and the likes of Krobler has got Hardest Boys now getting within striking distance of him. That kind of changed things up a little bit. Hardest trying to go around the outside of one of our Porsches, gets the drive, now has to get past Barry Loeb. You know, Barry is not easy to get past, will defend a bit, watching his mirrors. So Hardest now getting caught up in the mix. A little bit of an ongoing battle. Daniel De Villiers, Michael Donaldson, Anton Lummers all having a good go at one another. Michael Donaldson trying to go side by side as they come rushing past our speed GoPro. And Daniel De Villiers going defensive with Michael Donaldson. Side by side the two go. That Nissan ain't going anywhere. Goes straight onto the defense, holding back the likes of Michael Donaldson. Did stop it dead on the apex. Now catching up to one of the racing snails. A quick flash saying, listen, we're coming through. It's going to be a bit wild. Be very cautious here. You're going to have to follow through neatly. And Michael Donaldson's going to look to try and box him in. Goes around the outside. Very brave. Does compromise his drive, but does knock out Anton Lommers out of the fight. As Anton Lommers gets caught up behind one of the racing snails, BMWs, that go and fight it out. So some amazing racing happening on for our drivers. But out in the front for our pros is Bernard Barkhuizen, Crystals, and Daniel Rowe, first, second, and third of our pro. Moving on to our Pro-Am, though, sixth place is Gerry van Zyl, still needing to do 2 pit stops. David Robertson, though, pulling in for his pit stop. How far is Jaco Krobler, who's currently lying in third place in class? He's got 2 pit stops to go, but if he can time this just right, he may be able to hold on to third place. He's going to go that extra mile. He's watching on to Jackie Alberts at the moment. Jackie will be calculating, trying to figure out what's going to work in his favor. And Jackie, previously was part of the Racing Snails, then moving over to the OG Nitro, which is the development team for the Honest Gaming. And our Racing Snails being the kickoff ground for that. Definitely not slower snails, that's for certain. Crystals and Daniel Rowe pulling into the pits. That's going to leave Bernard Barkhuizen to try and fight it out. As we see a little bit of a bent Merc making his way around. That's Lawrence Bonmost. That's a little bit bent out of shape. Matthew Carter getting a 20-second penalty. Oh, Edwin Governor, stop go, 30-second penalty, dished out. And that will be for speeding in the pits, unfortunately. But Lawrence Bonmost carrying that little bit of damage on the front of his car will be going and crying out a little bit of pain there. And let's see if we can go back just to see where it all happened. Red ahead of him. So, chasing down the Audi. Rian trying to keep it all together. Lorenzo runs out wide. Oh, Rian just comes across the front of his nose. And that's it. Unfortunately, a passenger in one's own car and a passenger arriving on a scene of a murder, there's nothing really that can be done on both drivers' parts there. The front mover, though, will be crying out in agony. 30 seconds penalty dished out to him. Running in 5th place at the moment. That will drop him out of any chances of going for that top running order. Daniel Rowe, Crystals trying to get themselves going as see Barry Loeb and Lucan Haynes landing up with a bit of contact with one another. Number 25 and 38 car just having a slight argy-bargy contest between the two. Lucan Haynes in the BMW ahead of Kerry Funzel at the moment, who tries to get the run up, looks to the inside line. Barry, though, hard on the brakes, does bring it back, a little bit of a tap. Kerry Funzel says thank you very much, gets past the BMW without too much of a scuffle. So good to see the drivers having a run. Jaco Krobler into the pits, and that immediately dropping him down. Bernard Barkhuizen into the pits. They'll promote Kerry Funzel in the big Bentley. And for those that are excited, Bentley scream. Always sounds so menacing down the gears. Absolutely love it. So, honestly, a great round there. Vietia, well, sorry, SES so parked in the middle of nowhere. You can't park there, sir! As he keeps saying to everyone else, well, this time, gets to say it to himself. As he just over-rotates the car, spins round, and has to wait for the entire grid to come by. Now 969 car getting a little bit too much rotation, getting too much on the gas, and is one of our instructors on a Monday evening, Monday or Tuesday, that they get to go and see where the guys sit, sort of where the lines are. Useless fun facts though, that we can chuck in. Why don't we chuck in some useless fun facts? Example, let's go into the helmet of our driver. And this is of the Nissan making its way around. You see the gloves, all pretty relaxed, all looking okay. I think it is the Merc that has a different style of gloves. It's not the Merc. Lexus. In any case, if you look at the driver gloves when you're in sim, how's this one, guys? Take a look at your driver gloves. You'll notice, I think it's the Lexus has the Merc gloves that still sits on. That's been a problem for a long time. The BMW actually has Ferrari gloves as well. So, just as a little fun fact, Savasavov gets it out of shape, and it does look like Vietia Buerta, who now is in 3rd place, giving a little bit of a slight love tap to very low. Trying to get past Savasavov, getting caught up. Now, Vietia at the moment is lapping the likes of Sava, but can he get past? This is the question, because Sava is just forgotten about watching the mirrors. He is in a monumental fight with whatever's around him at any point of time. He's going to race it. So let's see how that's going to work out in his favor or not. Lots of questions being asked. Why is the Bentley the only GT3 car to go and have the steering on the right hand side, not the left? Oddly enough, it isn't. There is another GT3 car that does that very same thing. It's not playable in the game though. That was, I think it's called the Brabham. No, it's not the Brabham. It's one, it's, no, it has to be, no, it's not the Brabham. One of the British cars, I forgot the name. It's not an Aston Martin, it starts with a B though. It does have a right-hand drive car. The reason for that is because out in the UK, like here in South Africa, you sit with a right-hand drive, not a left-hand drive. You sit in the right place, you don't sit in the wrong place, you don't guess where the corner is, you can see it. And then you start using your left hand to change the gears if it's a manual. But with these cars, well, it's pretty easy. You go and use the flappy paddles at the back of the steering wheel, and you're not too concerned about anything else. As you see Bernard Barkhuizen dive up on the inside, Daniel Rowe makes quick work of him. Daniel Rowe does come back at him though. Looks around the outside, gets walked off to the fringes of the circuit. Bernard Barkhuizen and Daniel Rowe know each other all too well, side by side. And Daniel Rowe conceding to Bernard Barkhuizen at this point, allowing him to get a little bit more of a run. Daniel Rowe actually coming back off the current run at the Imola hill climb this past weekend, where he actually was quite successful. And when I spoke to him, he said he didn't get to do as much practice as what he would like prepping for the likes of the Imola race. This time around, he had to just wait it out, had to get back home, get himself sorted, and get racing. He was joined up with Jonathan Mokotsi at the Imola hill climb. So well done to him on behalf of ZRC and to all our drivers. Whether you are out here, Jaguar was one of them. But I think in the sim, the Jaguar is currently left-hand drive. Stand to be correct, but it started with a B. It was Brabham. It's not in assettocorsacompetizione. Competed a couple of times in the British GT3 Championship. Does a couple of rounds in it's part of the ADAC challenge, and is racing in the ADAC 24-hour coming this weekend or next weekend, or no, the following weekend. Sorry, apologies. It's one of one car. It's the same as the Acura GT3 car. That's the other one. That was based on the same profile. Yes, Acura actually did make a GT3 car. You can go watch it in a 24-hour race. But not talking about a 24-hour race. Michael Donson and Australian, they're going after one another. Loeb with a 5-second penalty. Ian Rootman with 45-second penalty. Jan van der Merwe was sitting with a 30-second penalty on top of his head. They will have to consider that in mind. At the moment, though, good bit of driving coming from the likes of Jackie Alberts down in 22nd position. Currently leading out everyone that has done their pit stops, with Thriller Miller trying to gain a little bit of time and also close up. See Ian Rootman with that 45-second penalty. Ian Swinburne right behind, likes Jackie Alberts, has got a 15-second penalty. So whatever it comes in, it's going to be a proper run. And Zoot saying Jackie on the final pit stop, though, completed all the pit stops. So when you see the green bar, that is pit stops done and dusted. They've served all their mandatory pit stops, but the question is, how far can you get up the order, as Jackie Albert's currently 14.5 seconds away from Francois Puerta if he wants to make up any time possible. Very low, pulling into the pits, add 5 seconds to his original pit stop time. Taking a look though, pit stop time does take you about 42 seconds roughly. Add another 5 there, that's going to hurt. It's just ache and bake for these guys. It's just painful. When you're sitting with 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 15 seconds, it's just your race tanked properly. There's not much you can do other than breathe. Try and take a deep breath and not let it get to you. Refocus in the race at hand as they make their way around. Craig Frenzel leading out our Pro-Ams with David Robertson and Lucan Haynes currently running in 3rd place. Then you've got likes of Pedersen and Krubler trying to chase down, currently running 4th and 5th of their class. Francois Puerta trying to make his way through, but Jackie Alberts does have an opportunity here to get into the top 3 of class. But Jan van der Merwe trying to stretch his legs, 34 seconds away from Bernard Barkhuizen. So he's currently put the 30 seconds in. He's 4 seconds away from Bernard Barkhuizen. Come the pit stop though, it does take 42 to get in the box. Bernard Barkhuizen, who's got one more stop left, has done a fresh set of tyres. He was stopped in the box for 32.1 seconds versus Daniel Rowe Splash and Dash. He was stopped in the box for 17.6 seconds. Crystal's done 32.4, so he's got a fresh set of boots on. Hardest Boys was stopped in for a Splash and Dash. So was Daniel De Villiers. Michael Donson as well, trailing also for a Splash and Dash. And Johan Krobler was a new set of boots put on his car as well. So new set of tyres out there to burn and really try and stretch all the way through. Conrad Martin getting the run as Heinz getting overtaken by Conrad Martin. Has got Edwin Governor getting past and will be minding out for a couple of others, but does give a good go at Edwin Governor before slowing up. And Savasavovo taking invasive maneuvers, straight lines, the chicane where our racing snails gets all out of shape, trying to take a very tight line, trying to be safe, but at the same time that can compromise your race completely. So you've got to be so careful in a race like this, a very narrow, a very tight circuit that can make or break your race. And considering it's round 6, every bit of the points is valuable right now because we've only got 8 rounds left. We've got 8 rounds in the championship. There's 2 rounds left. You don't want to lose out. You want to score maximum points. You want to end off on a high, especially with the prize of vouchers sponsored by EG Evolved Simulators. Big shout out to our sponsors as they jumped on board. ACC GT Server Manager, likes of EG Evolved going and supplying the prizes. Rapid Networks being part of it all right here at ZRC. It's good to have them on board. But I actually had a chat with Andres over at the Hobby X and got to ask him what's his thoughts of going and sponsoring into the world of sim racing as a company that is specializing in sim racing gear. And Andres has turned around and said, well, he loves the fact they're supporting local, supporting the sim racers, and actually looking at developing the business a little bit further than planned. Away from not only just sim racing gear, he's got into flight. So if you're into flight controls, you've got to use the Verpro helicopter setup, the joystick, and also the I forgot the name of the darn thing. It's off to the side of you that you lift up. Not a handbrake though, but it's just gives you a little bit more. It gives you more power. That's essentially the throttle that sits on the left-hand side. Trying to expand out, and one of the things is to help supplement getting more exciting racing gear coming in from all the leading brands like Moza, SimMagic, and so much more. So shout out to them on that. So good to see it. So, Jan for the mover into the pits. Will gain 30 seconds onto the time. Vietia Buerta will be trying to make up a bit of time as well. Right onto the back of Savasavov. Bernard Barkhuizen, though, I do think will get the pass done and dusted. He's close enough. So it's now pedal to the metal for the drivers. 23 minutes to go. Daniel Rowe also close enough in a shout to get past Jan for the mover. As you see yellow flags kicking up as Michael Donson and Anton Lubbers come out of the pits respectively, with Michael Donson done all his pit stops. Anton Lubbers though scoring, he needs one more pit stop to be done and dusted. Looks like majority of our drivers was able to go and get a proper run. And Swanburn dealing with Loic Randall. Loic going around the outside, gets it all together. The OG team all the way out from the world of Mauritius, if I believe is correct. Like one of our compatriots across the waters coming and supporting. And for anyone that doesn't know, like, he's actually involved in the world of hotels and customer and looking after customers, guest houses and all that type of stuff. Really, really exciting stuff, and to have all these fun little stories of what you get to see on a daily basis when we get to go out on holidays. So not only an avid gamer from first-person shooters now into the world of racing, but now also going and bringing in a whole bunch of racing once again. Henk Pedersen onto the back of Francois Buerta, who is now chasing down Jaco Krobler. Jackie Alberts going and getting a little bit out of shape. The number 29 car getting a little bit wrong. The ex-Racing Snails car, now part of the OG Nitro team, having the likes of Lucan Haynes, also ex-Racing Snails, I believe, getting it sideways, does come across, does make life exciting, and has to rebuild the pace. You got this. Don't worry. They only sold snails. You ain't no snail. Battling their way out. Drivers trying to just figure out what they need to do in the final hour, well, the final minutes of this race. 21 minutes to go. Jens Swanburn still with that 15-second penalty looming over his head, having to figure out what is he going to have to do to try and get rid of it. Jan Krobler down in 7th position. Will be looking to try and undercut if he wishes to close up on the rest of the field. Hannes Grayling need to do a pit stop. Daniel de Villiers need to do one more pit stop. Hades Boers along with Crystals, Daniel Rowe, and our leader Bernard Barkhuizen out at the top of the chart. So currently 7.4 seconds ahead, likes of Daniel Rowe. So doing a fantastic job of just maintaining the gap at the moment. Edwin Governor into the pits. Unfortunately, we do have a few retirees at this point, as we're down to 31 cars still actively going around the circuit. So a couple of cars, unfortunately, retiring out of the race. At the moment, for the cars that are still going, Ian Swanburn actually was the one to gain the most amount of positions in the race, gaining 16 positions. Started out in 35th, now up into 19th. So gained the most positions. Well done to Ian Swanburn on that one. Biggest loser of positions, though, seems to go to Conrad Martin, down 5 positions from where he started. He's onto the back of Jaco Krobler and trying to push his way through. But down 5 positions from where he started. Definitely not ideal circumstances. It's got looks to be Sava right behind him. Yeah, that will be Sava in the Lamborghini, as Conrad trying to get past Jaco Krobler, who is defending like no tomorrow. Sava getting past the likes of Conrad Martin. A slight lift to open the door. Will be now allowing Sava to be the wrecking ball to get past Jaco Krobler and Henk Pedersen, who is carrying a lot of pace as he chases down Francois Buerta as they make their way into the chicane. A little bit of a bounce over. Pedersen really trying his luck. Runs out wide. Sava going to be the wrecking ball and going to get past one of our ZRC Mercedes, but outbrakes himself. That's going to give the position back to Conrad Martin. So Krobler tried going in a little bit too deep there. And contact, Matthew Carter and Tehran going into one another. Our 13 and 31 car going into one another. The two teammates of the ZRC team coming to blows. Jaco Krobler comes onto the circuit trying to capitalize. Goes around the outside, gets a snap, and unfortunately there's a tap. Oh man. Two teammates unfortunately coming to blows with one another. Two they are running in formation. Lucan Haynes and Jackie Alberts at the moment. Johan Krobler and Hannes Grayling, though, did have a little bit of contact between one another. Number 19 and number 4 car. Might have been a light scuffle between the two, as this was the pass that set it up. Johan Krobler stuck on the outside, going and switching to inside under braking, and just gets it past. A little bit of a touch with Hannes Grayling, as Hannes looks to try and come back, but it does look like Johan Krobler pulled into the pits. Hannes Grayling will be going out a little bit long in his run, hoping they can stretch it out. Hardest boys trying to gain a little bit of time. Jackie Alberts now dealing with Loic Randall. Loic going and campaigning the team, going and being the team captain for the OG team. Now racing against Jackie, is part of the development team, and looks like Jackie's not going to make it easy into turn 1. Hard on the brakes, gets it turned in, side by side they go, and Loic just managing to carry the drive. I think a little bit of a whisper in the ear came to Jackie saying, hey, maybe don't go and get too much of a fight there. He's not quite in the same race as you, and you're in a bit of a winning run here. The last thing you want to do is compromise that. Your teammate right behind you, chasing you down. Third and fourth in class is a possibility. So, with 16 minutes and 23 seconds remaining, it is Bernard Barkhuizen out in first place. So the pros, followed by Daniel Rowe in second, Chris Stolz in third, Hottest Boys in fourth. Fifth place is Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, Hannes Kraling, Jan van der Merwe, Sava Savov, Jan Krobler, Vietia Buerta in 10th position. 11th, David Robertson, Kerry Van Zale, Michael Donaldson. Anton Lummers has just come into the pits. He will lose out of position to SESA's Loic Randall, Jackie Alberts, Lucan Hines as he makes his way through. William Swanberg, Andres Schadler has done a fantastic job keeping his way into the fight and keeping as close as he can to Swinburne. Darren Miller, Henk Petersen, Conrad Martin, Jakob Krobler is still out giving chase. Moritz Bodnois in 25th. 26th is Francois Boerta, followed by Ian Rudman, Barry Loeb, Francois Hayes, and Tian Turan, Matthew Carter rounding out our field. Still actively going. 36 cars started this race. 31 still actively driving. Good number of drivers still need to do their final pit stop for the race. 38 car, unfortunately, getting a bit twisted around. We're going to jump out to it. And that's Barry. Very slow. Coming out of the pits. Keeping it very slow. Hanging on the pit limiter for quite some time. And stopping on circuit. Not ideal circumstances there. The last thing you want to do is stop on circuit. Hannes Kraling comes the way through. I understand why some may go and stop, and that's not to interfere with the race, but I do feel that does provide its own little problem. Here's the why. Because I know a lot of people are going to be going, come on, he's letting the faster guys by. What's the point? Well, imagine you coming around the blind corner and there's a car leaving the pits. You will have yellow flag, slow car, exiting pits. You'll have the radio comms coming through, Jim, in your ears saying radio. You'll have slow car exiting pits. You're getting yourself ready, you're moving yourself offline, yellow flags kicking up. Now you start to think, okay, but is there an accident now? Is there something that's happened in front of me? Naturally, you will get yourself off the gas to prevent running into this accident. Last thing you want to do is come barreling through into a mess and smashing up your race. So you do lift off the gas. Meanwhile, as you get past, you see it's a car that's actually just stopped on circuit, trying to let everyone go. It's trying to be gentlemanly, but I would much prefer the car to just get going. I'll deal with you once we get into the corner, instead of having this, worrying about a yellow flag that may or may not actually be a true yellow flag for an accident on circuit. Because what does yellow flags mean in the world of racing? Well, it means take caution and be prepared to stop. That is what a yellow flag means. Be prepared to stop if there's an accident. Doesn't mean floor it through the side and hope that you make it to the other end. No. You don't do things like that. It's only way to end your race quite quickly. And I know there's a couple of drivers that will be knowing that all too well. Jan van der Merwe getting past. One of our new drivers, Honor Stradler in the Aston Martin. Van der Merwe waving by and saying, cheers, mate. Now running in 6th place, 33 seconds behind Daniel the Hitman de Villiers in the Nissan GTR. He is really standing on the gas at the moment, trying to give it everything he's got. As they power their way around the circuit, It is going to be monumental efforts as time ticks over. 12 minutes and 12 seconds left of the race. This is where the final desperations of the race comes in. Of have you saved enough fuel? Have you run your course a little bit long? For Stadler and Swinburne, though, they're going to be asking, well, should I have pitted earlier, down in 18th and 19th position? Especially Swinburne, 15 seconds added onto the time will drop him down way down the order when he does pit stop. As we say, that does come to the pit, so it'll be interesting to see where exactly pops out at the end of it. For Barkhuizen, are you going to go for an undercut, or are you going to try and run right to the end of the pit window? The pit window is currently 10.5 minutes. That's always a guessing game. It leaves you thinking what's going to be the best option for the race, especially leading the race, maximizing points in the championship. Daniel Rowe, currently leading the championship, has got a fair amount of gap over him. We'll be thinking, okay, I just need to focus on finishing within the top 2 if I want to go and ensure a good run. Daniel Rowe currently in first place. I'm just trying to see Bernard Barkhuizen, unfortunately, running down the order, has not scored points. So this is Bernard Barkhuizen's debut point outing, and it will be taking points away from a couple of drivers that were fighting. So this, he's the joker card here. So what I thought was a championship fight that could happen, Bernard Barkhuizen's actually removing points away from the likes of Kleinans and Krobler, who are hoping to gain some time at the moment. They will be going and crying out on that one because it does impact the run. So that's going to hurt. Taking a look, does Rubblethorne realize he still has a pit stop? Well, I certainly hope so. As he makes his way around, he does go past the pits. So stretching his legs a little bit more. I certainly hope that he realizes he's got one more stop. You can go a little bit long with these cars if you go and play it out and play your cards right. You get about an hour and 10 minutes in the car. So depending on what your fueling is, how you managing your fueling, you can switch it up a little bit. Crotzel Haynes going and losing out a bit of time. Slow through the corners. Racing Stales waving onwards to the others. And this is just absolutely tremendous stuff of our drivers really figuring out what they can do. And everyone hoping to get a little bit more drive. Vietir Buerta trying to get around on Strada as he looks up on the inside, couldn't get it all hooked up just as yet. Back on the gas, carries on accelerating, hoping they just maybe can keep up the gas and keep going as our drivers hope to gain a little bit more time throughout the race. Crystals onto the back of Daniel Rowe, now starting to close up into the fight. Daniel Rowe will either have to pit now or in 2 laps time as the best opportunity, but with Crystal on the back of him, I wonder if he's going to actually start considering going on the defense and maybe look for a switcheroo. I think if you ever started guessing on your competitor to the point like even Daniel the Hitman de Villiers versus Hardest Boys, who is making his way to the Vulcanverse Motorsport BMW that is on a monumental charge. If you're ever guessing whether to pit or not pit and you're not sure what your competitor's going to do, what I find is swapping the position on the last corner. Hear me out on this one. Why do you want to go and give the advantage of going into the pits to your competitor? Well, if you do think that they're going to possibly pit, swapping around just through the final corner, allowing them to actually pull and see whether they go into the pit, or you can do a battle right at the last, swap around, they go past pit lane, you're into pit lane, and you bait them into a bit of a switcheroo. It's an old tactic that can work, that can also damage your race. It's depending how you're willing to flip the coin. Hardest Boys and Daniel Villiers, they pull in the pits, they will lose out the time to Johan van der Merwe. No, he's 35 seconds away, I think. Johan van der Merwe will maintain 6th place, so Savard will also maintain 7th. Daniel de Villiers and Boys, though, will get out of the pits, and it does look like Johan van der Merwe does actually gain that spot, jumps into 5th, and so does Sava. So it was a long time in the pits for de Villiers and Boys as they only exit now. But Crystals trying his luck onto the back of the Hybrid Racing 1. Currently in 2nd place. Jan Grobler up into 6th place. Will be keeping ahead as we see David Robertson now into the pits. And let's see, Gerrie van Zyl gets a pass done and dusted. So he will be retaking that 1st place. 16th position though, Jackie Alberts. I think maybe a little bit too far back. Yep, no, Jackie will not be able to get past David Robertson at this point. And Luke and I as well. So Jackie having to try and keep it all together as they fight their way through. Whoa! Crystals as Tim brings us back. As we see possible contact between the likes of Daniel Rowe and Crystals. Let's go back about 30 seconds. Tim trying to get us a bit of a shot there. An aerial view of 2nd and 3rd place into turn 1. Crystals in the Ferrari. Daniel Rowe in the Porsche. Under braking. Oh, just slightest of contacts. And that just threw Chris for an absolute Fruit Loop round. Got on the power, but Daniel Rowe will maintain his position. Chris, on the other hand, will be seething from that one. Lightest of touches into turn 1. Unfortunately, that was a bit of a turnaround for them. Bernard Barkhuizen still need to pit. Daniel Rowe need to pit. Crystals will need to pit. Jan van der Merwe and Savasov pull into the pit. As our final set of pit stops will be our top 3. They will have to get it done and dusted. Bernard Barkhuizen dives into the pits and stops dead. Peculiar so. Trying to avoid possibly speeding in the pits. Maybe it. Daniel Rowe, though, going to stretch his legs a little bit, can go an extra lap. And it will take that gamble. Jan van der Merwe coming out of the pits. As we did see a bit of contact with the number 9 and number 1 car a little bit earlier, so let's see what happened. And Stella Miller once again getting caught out. This is with Conrad Martin. PWSR versus Stella Miller. Conrad indicating, trying to give him a little bit of room. Side by side they go. Contact between the two of them. Both able to rejoin, but that unfortunately will twist it out. Bernard Barkhuizen exits the pits. And Crystals needing to pull in the box. Daniel Rowe, last one out. 3 minutes and 26 seconds to go of the race. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left of the pit window. So if Daniel Rowe doesn't get it in the box come this lap, he may not be able to get it right. Bernard Barkhuizen back out on track. Look to try and close down the gap. Crystals will look to try and close down the gap. Jan Grobler has got de Villiers trying to chase him down. De Villiers can see the blue Porsche ahead of him and is reaching out, grabbing, trying everything he can. Will be lunging at every corner to try and close up on the drivers. Gerrie van Zyl leading out our Pro-Ams. David Robertson, second of our Pro-Ams. Third place is Jackie Alberts. Daniel Rowe, though, needing to come into the pits. Trying to the back of Savov. Will he pull into the pits this time? Yes, he will. 1 minute 30 to spare. He's into the pits. And Bernard Barkhuizen now trying to close down the gap. Will get information. Car ahead is in the pits. Car ahead is in the pits. Bernard Barkhuizen having that shouting in his head as he heads down towards Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. Hard on the brakes. That McLaren's going to really have to send it as Daniel Rowe still needing to stop the car out of Ravazza 2. Barkhuizen trying to really lean on the throttle. And Daniel Rowe now mobilizing. McLaren starting to come out. It's going to be close on pit exit. But it looks like Bernard Barkhuizen managing to pip him and get into first place. Daniel Rowe trying to get out before Chris Stoles. He will be able to do so. So Daniel Rowe holding on to that second place. Well, the likes of Chris down into third. Just needs to be pretty content with that. Daniel de Villiers, though, ahead of Krobler. So there was a change up between the two of them. And let's go back roughly 30 seconds, see if we can possibly see where it all worked out. That was before even got down to the Ravazzas that Krobler lost out the position to likes of de Villiers. And just sees the back of that Nissan GTR snapping all over the show. And chases him down, trying to really look for any way to get past at this point.
Right, man, leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
Jim giving us our little bit of information that Bernard Barkhuizen is on the final lap. So Bernard Barkhuizen is on the final lap, 13 seconds ahead of Daniel Rowe. So will he cross the line needing to do one more lap? Gonna be close. Don't think so. He wants to avoid that. He's gonna have to lift. He slows down though. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. He does cross the line. And comes across the line. Still needing to do a lap. Bernard Barkhuizen needs to do a lap. He did not get the time needed, but in his way of trying to beat out the clock, he has allowed Daniel Rowe 4 seconds onto the back of him. Daniel Rowe has an opportunity to go for Bernard Barkhuizen, 3.6 seconds. Bernard Barkhuizen tried running the clock, but instead of slowing down earlier and slightly lifting off the throttle, he has now compromised his drive, and Daniel Rowe can see he has an opportunity to go for the pass. Chris Stoles in third place. Fourth place is the hitman with Johan Krobler, and Hardest Boys has also closed in on him. So Hardest Boys is going to be pushing as hard as he can. Bernard Barkhuizen tried everything to stretch his gap, and now may have just absolutely impacted his race, as we see Johan Krobler and Daniel de Villiers are making their way through. Bernard Barkhuizen short shifting through the gears, and I think Daniel Rowe just too far back, 3.2 seconds into the braking zone. I don't think it's going to work out for him. Bernard Barkhuizen takes a win with Chris Stoles in third place. Daniel Rowe taking second place. Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, though, Krobler and Hardest Boys, though, running 4th, 5th, and 6th as it stands. As we got confirmation, Bernard Barkhuizen takes the win with Daniel Rowe in second place. Stoles will be taking third. 4th place on the cards. De Villiers trying to get the drive. Can he drag race it? Krobler trying to come back at him. It does look like Daniel de Villiers taking 4th place. Krobler taking 5th. Hardest Boys taking the likes of 6th place. 7th going to Hannes Kraling. Free Funzale in 8th. 9th, Michael Donaldson. Jan van der Merwe will be taking 10th. 11th, Savasavov. Viertia Buerta. SESAs will be making his way around, but second in class, so Gerry Funzel takes a win for the Pro-Ams. Second of the Pro-Ams is David Robertson. Loic Randabel finishing up in 15th position. Third of our Pro-Ams goes to Jackie Alberts. Blickadines finishing up in 17th and 4th in class. Anton Lumbers in 18th, 19th is likes of Conrad Martin, Henk Petersen, Jaco Krobler in 21st, Darren Miller, Lawrence Bonmos, Arno Schadler, Liam Swinburne making his way around the circuit. 26th is Francois Buerta, Ian Rootman, Franco Hines, Barry Loeb, Tian Theron, and Matthew Carter rounding out our field. What a run, what a race, what a full of surprises coming in, and even Zurt saying what an awesome race, and I have to agree on that one. Gerrit Sonnepoel saying GG guys, well done, good to see you Gerrit, and good that you had a bit of fun there. It was awesome to watch racing. Who would have guessed that Bernard Barkhuizen would go try and run the clock a little bit too late and nearly lose out his top running spot come the end of the race. So, wow from all our drivers. Well, as they make their way back to the pits and get themselves organized, we will be waiting in the commentary box, see if we can get a couple of guys to chat to before we turn off for tonight's stream of round 6 of the ZRC GT3 Championship. Once again, big shout out to our sponsors, ACC GT Server Manager, Rapid Networks, and our main sponsor, EG Evolved, going and being a part of it. Also, having those killer prizes of some vouchers next time you want to go and buy some awesome sim racing gear or even flight gear. I will have to say the Virprol flight gear was really fun. Made me look at my rig and go, maybe a lot of future flying in the coming works from my side. Who knows? I know that my stepdad has gone and turned around and said, yep, need to really look at that as well. As talking about EG Evolved, you talk about it and they arrive. Andres going and saying, nice racing guys, good to see. Always good to have you around. And once again, nice to have you as part of the racing scene. Let's take a look back to our highlights of tonight's racing as we wait for a couple of drivers to come and have a chat to us for the start of the running. And let's bring in a couple at a time. So let's bring in Jackie Alberts, who's scoring the 3rd place in the Pro class. Jackie Alberts, welcome to the commentary box. Good to have you here. And, well, you went and turned around and said, yeah, once again returning to the commentary box. This time 3rd place and was battling it out with your teammates. How was it out there?
I was lucky, man. I enjoyed this one. This one was very good. I didn't know where I was when I finished, but it was great.
Just tried keeping it all together. Now, I've got to ask, was there a little bit of a team order of who's finishing in what position, or was it, well, guys, you're into the last 5 minutes, go and give it your best shot between one another?
No, I had fresh tires on. He didn't, so he said, just go.
Okay.
That was fast, but...
Conceded defeat to the fellow driver. Would you say just recognizing being a little bit more superior on tires that concede defeat?
Oh, definitely. Once I changed those tires, my lap times were 2 seconds quicker again.
There we go. Well, Jackie, 3rd place, that is a lot of points to take into the championship. Round 6 done and dusted. Round 7 next week. We're into the closing stages. What's the game plan for you heading into the final stages of the GT3 Championship right here at ZRC?
I'll basically just try to get podium. As long as I get podiums, I should be good on score.
Fair enough. Just try and score those podiums and keep going all the way through. Love to hear it. Love to see it. Jackie, thank you so much once again. Hopefully we'll have a chat to you next week once again. But this time walking away with a little bit more than a bronze.
Yes, hopefully a gold.
There we go. You've had it before. You can do it again.
All right. Yes, Steven. Thank you.
Cheers, Jackie Alberts. Brilliant to have him here. All right, well, let's bring in another one of our pro drivers. Let's bring in likes of David Robertson. David, welcome to the commentary box. Glad to have you here. And what a race for you. To and fro, up and down. It was a fight all the way around.
Hey, Stephen. Second time in 2 weeks was quite a lonely race, though. To be honest, I felt I was in no man's land the whole race.
Yeah, you sat with just enough of a lead over your fellow pro-ams, but also just enough of a gap between the pros. When you're in that type of situation as a driver, what do you start looking at to try and keep yourself going or keep the brain engaged? Yes, you've got a lot of racing out there, but obviously as mental fatigue starts to kick in, what's the other things that you start looking at?
I got quite bad ADD, so I actually lost focus on lap 15 and turn 1. I went straight because I missed my braking marker completely. So yeah, trying to stay focused when you're just doing laps and you haven't got much around you is quite difficult.
So having to just try and figure out what's going to work, how's it going to go. Game plan now heading into the final stages of the championship. You're in for a hot shot with taking the win.
I gotta get my snorkel out for next week because I hear it's gonna be quite rainy. Gotta see how the Aston performs at Alton in the rain. So that's gonna be a tough one. It's a track I've never done, and doing it in the rain is gonna be interesting.
Well, this now moves you up into third in class, possibly having a shot at second in class, because Mordred Claassen unfortunately withdrawn. You're now, fortunately enough, moving up into third place, possibly second. Tian Theron will be the go-to verse and Gerrie van Zyl, but it looks like Jackie Alberts is going to challenge you the whole way up. Anything you'd like to say to your fellow competitors?
Remember, there's a drop round, and I threw away points from round 1, so I'm dropping a 0.
There we go. Well, let's see how this works out in your favor, David. Wish you all the best, and we'll look forward to having a chat to you next week.
Thanks, cheers.
Awesome stuff. Well, now with that being said, let's go and move on to our pro class because it also heated up quite a bit there. And let's have a chat to Chris Stolz from our pro, finished up third overall and third in pro. Chris, welcome to the commentary box. I pulled you away just as you were mid-conversation.
No problem, Stephen.
That just seems to be my luck and your luck. But Chris, well done. Delta negative, up into third place. A race on your side. Definitely a race that looked like it was going one way. It then changed. You were then sitting in third place. Not quite the way you wanted it, but still bagging some valuable points for the championship, especially with the championship on its closing stages.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Stephen, after the last week, my championship is probably over. So at the moment, I'm just trying to get as many good positions as possible. Had a really good qualifying. Actually invalidated my last lap, and it was probably going to be good enough for pole. So a little bit disappointed there, but I don't think it would have mattered much because Barkhuizen was just on a different level today. My strategy was a bit different to Daniel's, I think. He definitely, I don't think he did tires. I did, and that's why I came out behind him. But I felt like my strategy was probably the right one because I was catching him up a lot. I probably could have gotten past him, but I made a small mistake in the braking zone there when trying to overtake him, and I probably honestly should have just rather pit instead and just gotten my pit stop out of the way. But I wanted to give a show and a fight, and but unfortunate with the contact there. But that was definitely on me. So yeah.
Well, still some fantastic racing out there, and the car seems to be performing. Heading into the next couple of races, though, what's the game plan? You saying that the championship is out of contention, but just taking a look, you came into this race on 111 points, Hannes Kraling on 118. So you've managed to jump him. Johan van der Merwe on 122. So you're still within a shout, looking roughly at third, fourth place is the main ones. Your contenders going to be Daniel de Villiers, Johan van der Merwe, Johan Krobler, and Hannes Kraling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think a podium is probably still the best I can hope for. Second, obviously, I think is still just in reach because obviously the points get a bit skewed with the drop round that we have. So it changes the outlook on some things. But Yeah, so I think second place is definitely all I could hope for. Rowe, I think, has absolutely run away with it, and credit to him, he's done a great job this season. So yeah.
Well, well done. Seriously, well done on the racing out there. And look forward to having a chat to you. This time, you're walking away with a bronze, but maybe next time with the gold.
Hopefully, Steven. I think it's a wet race next weekend, and or next week rather. And I feel I'm pretty good in the rain usually, so we'll see how it goes.
Looking forward to it. Well done once again, Crystals of Delta Negative. All right, well, bringing in our race winner. Let's bring in Mr. Barkhuizen. Bernard Barkhuizen, welcome to the commentary box. Somewhere that you're very familiar with is the commentary box this time. Different colours and a different shirt. Taking the win overall, though, how are you feeling with that one?
Thanks, Stephen. I almost blew it at the end, so...
Oh, we caught that. Don't stress.
Yeah, thankful that I won, thanks to my stupidity, but yeah, I made it over the line at first, so yeah, thanks.
So take us through that moment, and it was last lap. You were gaining down. I'm sure you had Jim in your ear saying that you're the last. You're on the final lap.
Yeah.
So you're getting closer and closer. The finish line is there, but the timer hasn't run out. Did at any point previously with before you head into Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2, did you think to maybe lift off, or was it one of those just try and push it a little bit further, then suddenly arrived at the line and oh bugger, it's there?
No, look, when I came at the last corner, I kind of knew I can slow down and make it still in the first with about a 5-second gap. But I was a bit confused because on the game map, where the start-finish line basically shows on a map is different what it is actually on the track. So I didn't keep an eye on the start-finish line on the track, but rather the map. So, yeah. By that time, I just realized, okay, this guy is telling my ear, you're on the last lap, and I had no speed on the start-finish line. So I didn't think that I was going to finish in front of Rowe, but yeah, I did. So I was quite lucky there.
Oh, one of the most stressful situations I think you've been in for a long time, having to suddenly now pick up speed out of nowhere. Looking at the next couple of rounds, you're not in the championship fight as it stands, but you're still putting in a consistent effort all the way through. What's your game plan heading into the next final races?
Yeah. Look, yeah, I've never been in a 0C race. I have to say, the standard of driving in this league is quite impressive, especially the back markers and everyone showing their respect on a track. I mean, I'm not a guy who's gonna just drive through you, but I have to say that the guys are very, lenient of just getting you by. Much better than a few other leagues that I've realized. So yeah, look, I just tested the waters a little bit in a different league. So yeah, I'm probably going to do a few more. I don't know if I'm going to do all of them, but I'm more going to focus on LFM for now.
Well, it was awesome to have you around, Bernard. Possibly having a chat to you next week going for the win. But Bernard Barkhuizen, well done once again on your overall win and win for the pro class.
Thanks, Evan. Cheers, man.
Thank you, Bernard Barkhuizen. Well, we're going to bring in a random driver, and let's bring in Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. Well, I say the Hitman, but well, Bathurst, you pretty much went in like a shotgun. But this time round, the racing looked to be quite a bit of fun. You were in a tussle right until the end. How are you feeling after that?
Very wet. I had to concentrate the last few laps with Bago. So yeah, no, I'm good. I'm feeling good. I had a good quali and a good race. So on to the next.
Well, you scored valuable points for the championship. You came into this race fourth in the championship on 135 points. You managed to get ahead of Bago. You had Hardest Boys chasing you down as well. So that's a good couple of points heading into the next stage of the racing. But how is it in the Nissan? We saw at Bathurst it was snapping all over the show, and you had to really wring its neck in. This time round, Nissan looked a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, Stephen, it was much better than Bathurst, especially the last corner and everything. So yeah, no, this car handled well, and there's a lot of potential for this car in upcoming tracks as well.
Absolutely tremendous stuff. Well, I've got to say, well done on the racing. Good to see you out there and getting into a fight. Is there anything you'd like to have a shout out to? Oh, wait, before I do that one, what was up with the livery this evening?
So Alan just told me now something was wrong with the livery, and I'm still under the impression I'm driving with the red colors and the Ferrari's on the white colors. So he changed the red colors, and I didn't know he changed the red colors on the Nissan. And it's still synced up, but I need to delete the old files so you can resync again, and it didn't. It's just a mix-up.
Okay, because everyone in the
It looked like
grand
a cow.
everyone in the grandstand was saying it's urban camo, just as to show in the new going for a hit, which wasn't actually bad. It was quite unique to actually see it. So for a little bit of a mistake, who knows? Maybe it's something that sticks around on the Nissan.
No. I'm gonna delete them now and resync again.
All right. Well, anything you'd like to have a shout out to with all our fans, all our spectators, teams, drivers, and everyone watching?
I just want to say, for the people there in George where the building collapsed, they mustn't lose hope. And just to all the families that lost their loved ones, sorry for their losses.
Yeah, a pretty devastating news for anyone that's didn't
Sorry
know.
for the vibe killer there, but
No.
on my mind the whole day.
No, it's something we've got to bring ourselves to reality on, and you summed it up perfectly. Also, from the entirety of the ZRC family, our thoughts and prayers are with those from the building collapse. But we move on to our next race next week, and you're in the Nissan. I believe this is your final set of runs in the Nissan, though.
Yes, it will be the finals.
Oh boy! So you hoping to go and get it all done with a swan song?
Yes. Hoping to finish on the podium at least.
There we go. It's going to be a difficult one, but there is an opportunity for that. Thank you very much, Daniel de Villiers of PWSR. It's always exciting to go and have a chat to the different drivers, get their thoughts on everything that goes on. Also nice to hear the shout outs that come in from it all. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'd like to say a monster of a thank you to our sponsors, ACC, GT Server Manager, the likes of EG Evolve's simulators being a part of it, and Rapid Networks. Without our sponsors being involved, we would not be able to have our awesome prizes. A big thank you to all the admin, marshals, and stewards that are been participating, and also to all our drivers and teams that without them we will not be seeing our racing. But to you guys, our spectators, our petrol heads, our families that support and cheer on in our virtual racing, we look forward to seeing you guys for the next one, because coming up next week we are heading out back to the UK at Alton Park, round 7, 15th of May. Take note of it all, because we're going to have some very interesting racing, and as the drivers have alluded to, possibly some very slick weather conditions, possibly a rain coming in. We'll have to find out. The only way you're going to do that is by jumping on the plane, heading over, and standing at Alton Park, or even better than that, and million times cheaper, is hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, leave a like if you enjoyed the racing, and let us know what your favorite part of the race was right here at ZRC. Like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.